Right, monkey. Right. Well, there's that cat. Hey, buddy. Come here, rock and roll, are ya? Come here, rock and roll. That video is not starting. Maybe it is now. There it goes. All right. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Here's a Problem, episode number 552. It is Tuesday. Earnings happened for GameStop a couple hours ago. They crushed earnings. They were projected to have a 16-cent loss. They had a 6-cent gain, so 6 cents per share profit, probably largely due to all that money they've got earning interest. And earnings came out, stock price dropped $1. And I was like, I did it again. And then all of a sudden it flew to $30 and change. So it flew up like $4. And I was like, oh my God, it's happening. And then they hammered right back down again, like instantaneously. The shorts shorted it like crazy. This has nothing to do with natural price discovery, everything to do with manipulation of the stock by the shorts. So we'll probably open at like, I don't know, 27 tomorrow, right where we closed. Cool, right? I had actually held on to my call options. I was like, you know what? They've been hammered down. I have a feeling earnings going to be expectations, and it's going to get a little rise. And it did, and I was like, woo! And then they hammered down, and I was like, ah, shit. So here we are. Hey, I get to suffer the IV crush like everybody else tomorrow. Life is life, right? Other news, they caught the suspected murderer of Brian Thompson, the known as the claims adjuster, or some people calling him, what are the other names they called him? Kaiser Permanent. So the dude that shot United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson in New York, they caught him at a McDonald's in Altoona. Some McDonald's employee called it in, and he had with him the weapon, cash, and a short 262-word manifesto. Basically, it was like, sometimes you gotta be the change you want to see, basically. So my guess is that we will start seeing a whole bunch of talk in New York City about jury nullification, especially a day after that other dude got acquitted on choking to death that homeless person on the subway. It's really interesting that choking to death a poor person, Fox News is considering that guy a hero, but assassinating a CEO who's responsible for the deaths of tens of thousands of people a year via denying care and hundreds of thousands of bankruptcies a year, that's a bad thing to do. Don't do that. Seems like a weird justification to me. It's very obvious that Luigi Mangione is a utilitarian, not so much a someone on the virtuous side, meaning that he believes sometimes you have to do something that can be perceived as bad in order to do the greatest good for the most people, versus always taking the high road. There's some writings that I saw about him talking about Gandhi and Martin Luther King, and just sort of establishing, like, in some instances, yeah, that works if you're fighting a system with a conscience, but healthcare insurance companies do not have consciences, and you have to hurt them where it hurts, which is their existence. And I get the argument. I really do. I mean, heck, my second show ever was called Murder Private Healthcare. So, like, I get it. Yeah, so those are our two big news of the day, and classic. Okay, turn that off, you ding dong. Boom, we're good to go. Okay, off the grid hero. I know I ask a lot about NextBridge hydrocarbons, baby, lol. I mean, nothing's happening as far as baby's concerned. Zero is happening. We've not really had any significant filings filed in Kroll for the last couple of weeks. I mean, since December came around, I think the only filing has been from somebody wanting their cash for the $200 gift card. That's about it. So, baby, things are what they are. And on the NextBridge side, there's a private citizen who filed a pro se lawsuit, which reading it, it's kind of a jumbled mess. And yes, they named Berta and McCabe and Nextbridge in it, but it seems more like the complaint is about FINRA, and it's kind of a mess. It's like basically 13 lawsuits crammed into one complaint, and doesn't really seem to be that coherent. It's if anything, it's probably gonna get tossed. If not, the judge being like, "Can you file this complaint and make it coherent?" I don't think it's really gonna go anywhere. Outside of that, no other news on Nextbridge as far as I know. Yeah. Monkey, do you have anything to add? No? Just gonna come up here? Come up there and be a lay down dog? All right. So yeah, that's what we got there off the grid hero. Okay. Chris Taylor first. Corporal Walnut second. Zuma got to do with Nub. Funny how gas was almost $2.60. Market rugs for a bit and then gas back up to $3.20. Yeah. Apparently $1 trillion in crypto has been wiped out in the last 24 hours. It's been a pretty big bloodbath. But it is doing this. People are like taking on margin at the top. It drops 5 to 10%. They get evaporated, and then it goes right back up again, and they do it all over again. So it seems to be a very deliberate volatility cycle happening here. What's BTC doing at the moment? Back up to 97. So yeah, it's been very, very up and down last few days. We've had highs of 102 and lows of 90, what are you, 94 or so? So yeah, it's been like big drops and big gains. And people keep buying in when it gets to like 102 and 104, and they must be doing it on margin, because then it drops to like 96, 95, 94, and then they just get blinked out of existence. So it seems to be some very poor moves on the part of everyone. I do find it interesting, and I was sent a thread earlier talking about this, that when Satoshi Nakamoto, the nom de plume of whoever created Bitcoin, right, put together the original paper, it was not as a security, it was as a currency. So you could do transactions like you would with Visa or MasterCard or American Express, right? And buy stuff and send money overseas and do all these things. And it was to be a currency. And what is happening is that it's being consolidated like it would be a commodity like gold, and then hoarded like Scrooge McDuck style. And so the entire purpose of Bitcoin being a currency has been defeated by the fact you have ETFs and private equity funds just gobbling up and holding it, which makes it not useful in any way, shape, or form. Right? Like, you can't make watch faces out of it. You can't, plate electronics for better conductivity. You can't put it in fillings and teeth because it's noble metal. You can't make jewelry out of it. It's just these ones and zeros that just sit in a computer somewhere. Meanwhile, a lot of the BTC people are now freaking out because Google's new quantum chip just solved a computer problem in 5 minutes, basically an encryption set. In 5 minutes, that would take a traditional supercomputer 10, quintillion years? So something that is, thousands of orders of magnitude, millions of orders of magnitude longer than the entire existence of the universe, did in 5 minutes, which means no crypto wallet is safe. If some engineer at Google writes the code for this thing to punch a hole in any security system on Earth, it can do it. They basically have a universal key. It does not matter what your passphrases are. It doesn't matter what your password is. It doesn't matter the encryption level. There is not an encryption level that a computer can create on Earth that cannot be defeated by Google's new quantum computer. So, Personally, I think it'd be hilarious if some rogue Google engineer just decided to like slice the money bag of the Bitcoin ETF and just watch it just trickle all over the internet. But that's just me because I'm a sick fuck. So, Chris Taylor, since we are doing felon presidents now, what do you think about Luigi 2028? He's 26, so he's got eight more years. So he's gonna be Luigi 2032, right? 9 more years. So if anyone's birth date, it might even be Luigi 2036, because he had to be 35 to run for president. So, yeah, I mean, start campaigning now, buddy. Seriously, I think jury nullification may actually happen in this case. He has an extremely high approval rating, something ridiculous. I saw something yesterday that was like 80% of people approved of the murder. Like you do not find that kind of cohesion across the American electorate. So, I mean, no one has good experiences with their health insurance. No one. Even rich people have bad experiences with their health insurance. And Luigi's rich. His family owns a host of elder care facilities. They own country clubs. They've got like 30 shell corporations. He grew up in one of the fanciest neighborhoods, went to the fanciest private school. This kid is rich, right? And even he sees the evil that is our healthcare system, at least the private health insurance system. So you just cannot find that type of cohesion. And some of you may be like, "Oh, Michael Moore sucks," whatever. But he did a movie years ago called Sicko, probably 20 years ago, and it talks not about the lack of health care in the U.S., but about health insurance denying care to people. Right? So they look at people who have health insurance and who got fucked over by the system, and they talk to people who, a guy, his fingers got cut off by a machine in an industrial accident. And he loses all 4 fingers. And insurance will only pay for one of them to be reattached. So he has to like choose which of those 4 fingers get reattached. The others just get thrown away. Right. And then there was a giant, at the end of the movie there's a, heartwarming kind of troll moment. I don't know how to describe it, where one of Michael Moore's biggest critics, who just harasses him and stalks him and sends him all his messages and is always talking shit about him. Michael reads the guy's posts about his wife's cancer and how they can't afford the treatments, insurance is denying them coverage, all this stuff. So Michael Moore, for his greatest enemy in the world, writes a check and sends it to the guy to cover all the medical treatments and never tells him who it is. So then in the movie you see like this guy, "Oh, thank you, the anonymous person who sent that check to us." Like doesn't matter what end of the political spectrum you're on, you're going to get fucked by private health insurance. You just are. I don't care who you are. I don't care what level, what status in life you are. I don't care what political persuasion you have. Everyone gets sick. That is one of the guarantees in life. They talk about death and taxes. Well, before death is usually sickness or injury, right? And, you get struck by lightning, hit by a car, fall off a ladder, get cancer, get COVID, get bird flu. But like you are going to get sick at some point in your life and you're going to require medical care to do it. And I guarantee you at some point that health insurance company is going to screw you over. You read about people who, the mom is feeling ill. She goes in for a pap smear. The pap smear comes back normal. And she's still feeling ill. And so she goes to her doctor again. It's like, "Yeah, check it again because, I'm reading the symptoms." And the doctor's like, "Oh, I checked it. You're fine." And then finally goes to a second doctor who's out of network, pays for cash. They do a pap smear and discover that she's got cancer. Because the health insurance company contracted with a private lab that was like, if it says cancer, then it says cancer. If it says questionable, we will treat it as if it isn't cancer, right? And so people lose years off their life, years with their loved ones, all because someone wanted to save like $1,000 on doing a test properly or what have you. So like you're going to face this crap. Everyone's going to face it at some point. And either we fix the system by electing people who will fix the system, or we fix the system by eliminating the people who refuse to let us fix the system. A majority of Republicans want universal health care, national health care in this country. It is a universal truth amongst citizens. 70% of the population wants universal health care in the US. Now, 30%, I don't know what the hell's wrong with them. They probably think they're indestructible or something. But yeah, so if Luigi may not run, but he may inspire somebody to run who's going to absolutely help us fix this thing. And if the health insurance companies, are scared into approving everyone's coverage, which it looks like if you read medical Twitter or go on the medical Reddit subreddits, these doctors and pharmacists are being like, nothing is getting rejected right now. We are submitting everything and it's coming back paid. Because they're scared shitless that this dude has inspired many more copycats that if they get fucked over, they're just gonna do their thing. And those CEOs will cease to be. And what's crazy is even the CEO class is not safe from being treated as an afterthought. So we're gonna close that because they're like doing laundry out there. So like Brian Thompson gets eliminated on Wednesday, and on Friday there's a job posting for a new CEO. There's like just done, gone, move on to the next thing because this capitalism machine must churn. So when you think about it, when you think about your job, right? In the end, they don't care about you. There's that lady the other day who was dead in her cubicle, was there all weekend. They came in Monday, she was still dead. And it was like Tuesday, someone finally checked, like, oh, something smells. And the lady had been dead in her cubicle for like 4 or 5 days. They brought in someone, they cleaned it, and they put up a job posting. Like, oh, well, there goes Susan. Hire another Susan. So live your life best you can. And you don't owe the capitalist machine basically shit in the end because they're not going to take care of you either. That's my message. So what you got to do with them happening more frequently and rapidly. Talking about the rug pulls. Michael Hum, 4th. Antonio Baez, wowza. Colin, typical GME earnings. Nice to see the profitability, but decreasing revenue, more store closures, and a pile of cash not doing much. Nice to see no more dilution, though. They did not dilute, which is odd. Right? Like, shove 30 cents, you'd be like, maybe we'll file dilution papers. But no, I think they may have looked at how many shares have been borrowed, and we're like, we don't need to this time around. The shorts will take care of the price action for us. Seriously, though, Ryan needs to pull the trigger on something. All of my messages involve some sort of, he needs to do something or I'm out. That is basically what I'm getting from dozens and dozens and dozens of you a day. Is something needs to happen or I'm done with this. I can't sit around and wait anymore. We got people talking about, they need healthcare treatment. Their health insurance isn't covering it. And they've been hoping this thing would moon so that they can finally get the surgery they need to take care of their cancer, stuff like that. So, people will literally die waiting for this to happen because Ryan isn't pulling that trigger. So do it already, dude. We know you're a billionaire. You're fine. The rest of us, we're waiting for you to do your thing. So do your thing already. It's taking forever. Corporal Walnut, Super Chats. Cost tweet to GME was Christmas oriented any 10. Let's see here. Cost headphones, I presume. The perfect pair. It's the Cost headphones and the Game Boy. Let's see here. Okay, this one here. Our first ever all new Porta Wireless. So we got this guy here. And please, if you are playing video games on your phone or on your little retro device, wear headphones. Do not make the sounds out in public of the pew pew pews, the bang bang bangs, the pew ding 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 ding. Especially like in a restaurant or public transit or any of that stuff. Don't do that. Put your headphones in. Because my God, it's the worst tin sound to hear from like 20 feet away. So here we go. We got chromatic matching Porta Pro colorways now at modretro.com. There you go. Only 1,200 views, so it has not been anything big on that. Unless they got... Oh, I got this one here. This looks much more GameStop oriented. There you go. This is Mod Retro. So they reposted this one. And... I got a few of them here with the Mod Retro stuff. Yeah. So I've been doing it. I mean, they've been hitting this thing up for months now. So yeah, the Mod Retro seems to be quite the thing. Well, all right. I don't know if there's any tin on that. I'm so terrible at deciphering that stuff. I mean, seriously, like it's Christmas colors. They're matching the headphones to the Game Boy. I don't know. Fuck. Let somebody else figure that out. And Corporate Walnut Super Chats also, they replied to GME Direct. Super weird. Wait, they did reply to GME? Let's see under replies. I see the retweet. I don't see a reply to GameStop's necessarily. I see the retweet of where GameStop is mentioned. I'm not seeing it. Send it to me if it's maybe Twitter's messed up. It's not showing it to me at the moment. I don't know. Turkish. Where's the money, Wadowski? GME earnings out. Not much there. Nothing burger. What about BBBY? Nothing about BBBY. The GME earnings is more than a nothing burger. They were projected to have a 16-cent loss. They instead had a 6-cent win. So there's that. Although my shirt does have butterflies on it, I just realized. This is the shirt that I had lost. Someone had sent it to me. I think maybe Michael Mystery had sent it to me. And, Mr. Michael, sorry. And it just got hidden back there. And so I was cleaning up some things. I was like, where did this shirt come from? And it's got little butterflies on it. See? Right there. Right, monkey? Right, monkey. Artemis 8th. What a shitty after hours price movement with such amazing earnings. I'm bitter as fuck. I mean, it went woohoo! And I was like, yes! And then it went wah, and I was like, Durr! So here we are. Rose Moon, hey y'all, they called. Said I was strong candidate, but not strong enough. Boo. Anyway, Luigi is brat. His Spotify playlists are fire. Yeah. That's a bummer. When their candidate doesn't work out, because they won't, apply again. Artemis is down for Luigi as president. Michael Steegs, Houston. Maybe you can tell the people about the video link I sent you concerning No Labs. Oh, yeah. You sent that one. Oh, dang it. Come on, man. You sent it to... You sent it to this one? There we go. Yes. So there was a... There we go. Okay, I'll pause that. So there was an interview done here between an engineer at No Labs and whoever this guy is. Has right now whopping 92 views. 2 of those are mine. This is from 6 months ago. And they talk about the timeline for No Labs to apply the FDA. And the engineer here, he explains that right now that they're fine-tuning the device and honing their algorithm for getting their measurements, and that they expect to do full clinical trials with their honed device that they want to submit either late 2025 or early 2026. Now, this Alpha Sophia only has 28 subscribers, and the video has 92 views in total. So no wonder it's been sitting here for 6 months and no one's ever heard of it. I will post the link here at I think this starts at around 18 minutes or so, but at 22 minutes is when they give their timeline. But it's informative. Two guys with very thick accents having a conversation with each other. So the link is there. Hit it up, watch it. Like by about 25 minutes or so, you've heard the gist of what I think is the meat of the entire interview, which is the sort of iterations they created, the expected timeline, when they expect to file. So late 2025, early 2026. So there you go. All right. And that maybe this guy will all of a sudden be like, why do I have 180 views all of a sudden? So give our boy Alpha Sophia some hits there. Jealous Money Super Chats. What was Enron's release in the end GME related? I don't think anything Enron has done has been GME related. The Enron release is a shit coin that's going to be a giant rug pull with the Enron name on it. And that's all the Enron stuff. I don't know why anyone is putting the two together as if for some reason GME is like, you know what people are nostalgic for? Enron. No one's nostalgic for Enron. They were a giant criminal enterprise. I don't know why you'd want to attach your name to them in any way, shape, or form. They went from one criminal enterprise into a crypto criminal enterprise. And if you sink your money into that, you may as well have sunk it into the Hawktua coin or DJT coin or any other rug pulls that happen out there. Just, no, I don't think there's anything related between the two. Don't see shit them. Could you please use this by a fractional share of something that isn't effing meme stock? Thank you. All right. Belgian whale. So I bought a put and a call just for the hell of it, and now it's trading sideways. Lol, fuck me. So it's your fault. Chris Taylor. Believe it or not, I made some money off AMC. Bought a few puts last week when it popped in concert with DFV tweet. I knew AMC would go down quick like the Titanic. Good job. That's the one way to make money off AMC at this point. Chris Taylor sending Rose Moon more vibes. Keep on grinding. Indeed. Snertlert. Oi, Houston. Oi, Snertlert. Sis54 says hashtag free Luigi. Houston. Looks like they're trying to paint our boy Luigi as a cold, calculating villain. The oligarchy media is full of it's in full blown taco mode. May their heads soon roll off. It's hard. I mean, you've got ladies and gay men all over the internet, absolutely just beside themselves. The people are in love with this man. He is handsome. He's very intelligent. He seems to be empathetic. The narrative is not going to paint well. I saw a hilarious clip. It was amazing 28 seconds from Laura Ingram's show yesterday where she's like, I cannot believe some people supporting this man. You know, that cold-blooded murderer. It's absolutely insane and disgusting and blah, 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 blah. And she's like, coming up next, I forget that dude's name, the subway killer guy, got off and why we support him. And it's like, yeah. More. That's what I have to say. Chris Taylor, Syria, surprise. Yeah, Syria fell in 11 days. I think a large part of it is Russian resources could no longer extend to Syria because they've been in such a stalemate for so long in Ukraine that they've basically been bled dry. And so any resources Syria had access to are gone now. And there's a big concerted effort between the Turks, ISIS, and the Americans to push Assad out. And now that Assad is gone, the prisoners have been freed from that awful, awful prison. Holy smokes. The stories coming out of there are some of the most brutal things I have ever seen on video. Absolutely horrific. You know, trigger warning for those who watch those videos. So there's this giant mega prison just outside, is it Hama? I mean, it is a big, giant, huge facility, underground cells. There are men there, some of them foreigners from Lebanon, from Turkey, from elsewhere, who they've been found have forgotten how to talk. They've got so much trauma, physical and mental trauma, they can't say words anymore. They don't recognize their own faces in a mirror. They've been basically in isolation for years in concrete cells underground with no light, and they can make sounds, but they can't talk. There are women who were arrested as teenagers. They've been in underground for 12, 15 years. They have dozens of children. They have no idea who the fathers are. There are children in these cells who have never seen the light of day or been outside of their cells, right? They can't speak. They have no education. They found, you know, half-rendered bodies in vats of acid, rooms to the ceiling with shoes, clothes, personal effects of the people that they'd executed, very much Auschwitz style. It's horrific. And they had to they arrested the warden, brought him to get through some of the electronic locks, let some of these people out. But they also had to basically tear down giant concrete walls, huge, vast vault doors to get some of these folks. And they think they got them all, but there's rumors that there's even more underground systems and they don't know how to get to them. So the White Helmets have basically said, like, we think we got them all, but there could be more that get discovered later. And if we don't get to them in a reasonable time, they're not going to make it, because people who are there are already malnourished and tortured and everything else. It is horrific. And, you know, it makes sense that Assad has photographs of himself with his cousin. His cousin's wearing a Hitler t-shirt. Absolutely grotesque torturing of human beings, murder on industrial scales were going on in this facility. So yeah, screw Assad. I guess the big qualm now is, where does Syria go from here? Because you've got multiple competing factions now looking for control of the nation that do not have the same interest. They had one interest, which was get rid of Assad. Now you got, you know, the Turks pushed in. The Turks hate the Kurds, and the Kurds hate the Turks. You got ISIS, who wants to create a theocracy. You probably have secularists in there as well. So there's going to be probably renewed internal conflict, and I don't know who's going to get backing in this one. Definitely not. ISIS definitely won't get the backing. NATO will just carpet bomb them probably. But you know, the Kurds want a free state in the eastern part of the country. The Turks do not want the Kurds to have a free state. So there's going to be a lot of, it's going to remain messy. For the moment, you know, everyone's enjoying the victory. Russia's pulling out. Russia looks like they're going to lose their 2 military bases there. The big one is the Navy base Tartus. And the phenomenal thing of that is that it reduces Russia to a regional power. Tartus was their launching spot for all the military action that they've been doing in Africa to stabilizing African countries. Like Chad and Sudan and Niger. And they don't have that ability anymore. They can't do it because they don't have jets that can fly far enough to bring materials to those African nations. So it looks like there's probably going to be a wave of freedom happening in a lot of these African nations as these militant groups turn against their authoritarian leaderships, because the Russians won't be able to back it anymore because they don't have that stop there in the Mediterranean. So definite turning point. Russia's getting kicked out of BRICS because they can't stabilize their currency. It's pretty phenomenal. They got the win with our own elections that they did, because they're losing everywhere else pretty big right now. Right, monkey? Oh, you're just a little whiner. You need a treat. That's what you need. Okay. I'll give you one of these and maybe you'll stop whining. Are you stuck? Are you stuck, monkey? Where are you going? What's happening? Come over here. Come on. Get up. Get up. Get up. Take your crunchy ear. She's just looking at me making that breathy whine of hers. Stay. Okay. Yeah, so very much surprised in Syria. It was, 14 years ago this week is when the Arab Spring began. It was December 2010. And here we are 14 years later. It looks like phase one of the civil war in Syria is finally over. That's a long time. And there was hope that Assad had gone down in an airplane in the mountains, but it looks like that was one of his airplanes went down, and the one with him and his family on it made to Moscow, where he's getting asylum. So Putin's just gonna house all the corrupt, homicidal leaders, I guess, of the world. Chris Taylor says, I heard the rich taste like veal. Succulent. Eric, hi. We are waiting 4 years to RC to show us plans already. Sometimes I think maybe there is no plan, which we're waiting, because I think during that period it was possible to really create something. Which is why we're waiting. I mean, seriously, it's taken too long. There's zero reason that there should be a 4-year-long plan for whatever it is he wants to do. None. Granted, yesterday they filed a motion to dismiss with prejudice for the 16B lawsuit, which was expected. Now we wait 2 months for that to come through. I don't know. But it's just a lot of legal wrangling. Just so much lawyers and filings and waiting for rulings and blah, 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 blah. Like, I don't know. Pull the trigger. Be like Luigi, pull the trigger. Brendan Wells, sup? SJ, good day. Charles Bronson. Ian Carroll said people sold GME shares are crazy. Could have waited another month because docket state there will be a merger. Hard times for them after holding forever. Also, a month has passed. I mean, that's why I keep playing this whole options run thing. Is that if there is a MOAS, I've got enough shares, I can retire. Like, that's sitting there, it's a couple thousand shares. They're sitting there. MOAS hits, the price goes nuts, I'm out, right? But I'm playing the volatility in case this takes forever and I can retire sooner. If this last cycle, if that price had hit $84 or something, I would have been able to retire, right? And it never got there, kind of frittered. And so the next volatility cycle, I can try again. And I can just keep doing that on these volatility cycles, and I might hit one. And maybe during the volatility cycle, it becomes MOAS, and then I'm just super retired after that, right? So, it's just a sit, twiddle thumbs, trying to figure out what to do in the meantime. The shares will stay there. I have no reason to sell them. I have no reason to get rid of them. They're just going to sit in that account and do nothing. And I will try other avenues in the meantime. So I know the people who are more desperate, they have medical issues, they have to move, they lose a job, etc. I totally get that you cannot afford to wait. I get it. Impatience is a huge thing with me right now. And so, if anything, I've got my monthly investment into my IRA and 401k that goes in there, buys index funds and ETFs, and just goes in every month. And if I have to wait, I can wait until I'm 59 or 60 until I can draw on that. But until then, I don't want to wait that long. I want now. So it comes back to that whole lesson I learned from my mom when I was 5-6 years old, which was, we're going out camping, and we go on these camping trips, and we hit like the Washington coast and go all the way down the coast, all the way down to Oregon, and spend weeks and weeks and weeks camping all summer long. And we see hitchhikers, a lot of dirty hippies out there, just their thumbs out. And I was like, who are these people? Why are they walking with their thumbs up? And I was like, oh, that's hitchhiking. stick your thumb out, it means you need a ride or you want a ride. And then someone sees you and they got room for you, and they'll pick you up and give you a ride wherever you got to go, or at least part of the way there. And so she's explaining hitchhiking to me, and she's like, as a woman, I don't pick up hitchhikers. I just don't do it. I don't feel safe doing it. And, explaining to me like, these are strangers. You don't know what their motives are. You don't know what their histories are. And you put them in your car in this space and you don't know what's going to happen. And then she goes on to explain, like, if you are going to pick up hitchhikers, if you do feel like, oh, I can give this person a ride, right? She's like, only pick up the ones who are walking. Don't pick up the ones who are just standing there expecting a ride. And her reasoning by this was, it's a good way to sort of filter out the type of person you put in your car. If you put the person who's like demanding a ride and expects one, they're just sitting on the side of the road with their thumb out, they're going to have a different mentality than the person who's like hoping for a ride. But if they don't get one, they've got an alternate way to get to where they're going, right? Like they're going to make do with whatever life deals with them. And she was sort of like, if you're going to pick people up, pick those ones up. I don't want to feel like I put my shares in there and I'm just going, harumph, I expect a MOAS, right? I have to figure out a plan B, plan C, plan D in order to get to that level I want to be at, which is a retirement level of some kind. So that's my options plays, my options runs, is that's me with my thumb out walking and not just sitting there going, harumph, someone give me a damn ride, right? So that's where I'm playing it. Alex Bishop is here. Bill Coyne, GME, the big yawn. Jason Blackwell, hey Houston. My friend Mike is a super handsome guy. He's always the best looking person in any room. I wanted to know what that feels like, so I went to Tulsa, Oklahoma. You gotta deal with Stallone. He's there all the time now. Actually, I think the film in Georgia is pretending that it's Tulsa. That reminds me of that old joke. This guy goes to the doctor, and the doctor, does like a biopsy. The guy's not feeling well. They do a biopsy, and he finds out it's cancer. And the doctor explained to him, was like, it's terminal, right? You got maybe a year to live. There's nothing we can do. It's metastasized everywhere. And he's like, there's not really any steps you can take. And the dude says, that's all right. I know what I'm gonna do. And the doctor's like, well, what are you going to do? He's like, I'm going to move to Cleveland and marry a nice Jewish woman. He's like, well, why? He's like, I'm going to make this the longest year of my life. Just met me. Flop, flop, fizz, fizz. Oh, really fizz. Joan Saunders. Hi, pal. What do you be from our... Wait. Hi, pal. What do you be from our DRS MMTLP shares? There's no news from the company, so it's currently dead money. They're filing documents. They're filing their little quarterly reports. Beyond that, yeah, there's not much going on. They apparently are making moves a bunch in like Louisiana for oil patches. Supposedly, their partner Hudspeth is fighting against the University Lands Board for information as to why they got denied their lease renewal. But yeah, with I'm going to be talking with Drew Diligence tomorrow evening, 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern. We're going to talk about all the updates happening. So we're going to do a show tomorrow on that. So maybe he'll have more insider stuff. He's talking a lot with members of Congress, and he was hoping that there'd be something done by yesterday. That's how hopeful he was, but nothing happened yesterday. So we'll get an update from him as to all the lawsuits and the filings, and he's paying way more close attention to that than I am. So I'm just waiting for another S1 filing. Until then, just gonna focus on other things. Alexander K. Houston. Have Houston teach us how you organize your thoughts to remember things better. Does the filing system happen naturally? The filing system, like in my mind, the filing system works a lot kind of like Windows filing system. But the thing is that it was set up that way in my brain before my family ever had a computer. Even at like 9, 10 years old, I was really, really, really good at Trivial Pursuit and could beat the adults. I would read the almanac every year. I was fascinated with it. Maybe this, you know, autistic adjacent weirdness that I have where I like to make lists and categorize things. And I would search through data and find out like, oh, these are the largest cities in each state, and I would organize them all according to population from highest to lowest. I would, catalog the buildings in the city from highest to lowest. I would, look at metropolitan areas. I would look at states. I'd look at population per square mile. I would look like I would just feed my brain all of the statistical data because it just fascinated me. And, I guess a lot of it is an organization system, whether it's numerically, alphabetically, largest state according to population, largest state according to area, like, largest cities according to population. The largest city area-wise in the United States, largest major city area-wise in the United States is Anchorage, Alaska. Anchorage, Alaska's territory, like the borders of its city, is as large as the state of Rhode Island, over 1,000 square miles. Why do I know that? Because I read it once when I was 8 years old. So like that's just how it works. I don't know if it was naturally trained that way or what, but that's just kind of the way my brain puts everything together. Monkey, get your butt up here. Come on. Get up. Monkey, get up here. Come on. Or just sit on the floor. Whatever, dude. Stop staring at me. Yeah, it's just kind of how it works. It just doesn't explain. There's like the filing system. Like you can open a drawer and just find the folder you need. Shunk, there it is. There's information. You can put it back, forget about it, and come back to it later. And then there's the one-armed bandit slot machine where things are going chick, 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 and a lemon comes up. And he goes, oh, lemon. Bling, that reminds me of citrus. Brong, that reminds me of the story from My House in Hawaii. Like it just lines up that way. And yeah, there's also, I like artifacts. I have little artifacts like this right here. This is a drumstick. This drumstick was given to me by Kevin Wood, who is the drummer for Malfunction. Malfunction is the original grunge band in Seattle. Andy Wood, Kevin Wood were in that. Andy Wood and Kevin Wood went on to form Mother Love Bone, who was the first band to get a huge signing out of Seattle during the grunge movement. Andy then died of a drug overdose the day before their album launched. And out from that became Mother Love Bone. Sorry, not Mother Love, Temple of the Dog. Temple of the Dog was formed by former members of Mudhoney, Soundgarden, Pearl Jam. It was a super group, put all these dudes together, and it was a charity album to raise money for Andy Wood. But this is from a Malfunction reunion concert. Different singer than because Andy Wood's gone, but Kevin Wood, Kevin was there, and yeah, I got this drumstick from that. That was April 2014. So it sits right there, and there, it triggers a memory of going to that concert and watching some awesome Malfunction and Mother Love Bone songs. So like, I have a lot of little knickknacks and doodads that I keep around that remind me of the trigger those memories. And my mom hates it. She's like, why do you have, this little thing from high school? I was like, because I look at that, I think about, my homecoming date, my freshman year of high school, and what we did that evening. And if I didn't have that trigger, I may not think of that moment. So I like knickknacks and doodads. Cool shirts. I have lots of memories of where I got a lot of the shirts. And you guys sent me so many shirts that it's now starting to blur together. But like, I have specific memories of certain shirts, where I got them, who gave it to me, when I got it, ticket stubs to concerts or baseball games or what have you, rocks from different locations I went to. And that's another way that sort of jostles the memory around, is those little knickknacks and doodads. I don't know, if you get too many of them, you're a hoarder. So you can save the little ones and make little artistic pieces out of it, right? So yeah, it's a system I have. It works. Okay. Off the grid hero, XRP, XLM are moving up and down. Bitcoin, what the fuck is going on? Up and down 5,000 times, sometimes at a time. What do you think about investments in crypto right now? Someone's going to rug. Someone's going to rug this thing. It's going to drop really hard at some point. And I don't know when it's going to get officially rugged, but it will. And then after a while, it'll go right back up again and go past where it is now. But it really seems to be, it hits that, 100,000 in a little bit, and then someone pushes right back down again. If you look at the news about some of these big wallets, you're seeing like, oh, somebody just moved 68,000 Bitcoin to Coinbase, right? You're like, why would they move it from a hard, $6.8 billion in Bitcoin from a hard wallet to Coinbase if their intent wasn't to sell? So, and when they sell, there's going to be a buyer. There's going to be MicroStrategy. There's going to be, the Bitcoin ETF, etc. But what happens when they buy it all? What happens when the Bitcoin ETF and MicroStrategy own all the Bitcoin in existence? And you don't have any anymore. No one has any. Where's the market for it then? What happens? There's no economy. So any sale whatsoever would be like gigantic up or down price discovery. You can even have weird arbitrage happen across different nations. Like in Korea, when Yoon did that ill-fated martial law attempt, Bitcoin dropped to $70,000. And so a whole bunch of people bought Bitcoin in Korea and then sold it here for, a $35,000 profit, $30,000 profit. So, there's weird things, man. And my brain can only pay attention to so many at one time. I really need, and I don't want to pay attention to any of it. I want just one of these stupid things to rocket ship for me. And then I don't have to look at it ever again. I want freedom. I want freedom to not give a shit about what the stock market's doing. I don't want to care about Bitcoin or anything else. I want enough so that I can do the things that actually interest me. Don't you guys want that? Don't you want to have the money so you can restore the car in your garage, or take the family on a vacation somewhere, or just wander? Just eat food. Whenever something smells good, be like, you know what? I'm gonna try that because you've got the income where you can, discretionary income where you can just buy that thing. I heard this restaurant's really good. It's $150 a plate. I don't care. Nom 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 nom. Right? That's the freedom I want. I want to be able to have conversations with people that don't involve stocks and crypto coins. And this is the thing that really pisses me off about a lot of really rich people. People that have 10, 20, 30, 40 million dollars, $100 million, $500 million, $1 billion, is that they still care about this stuff. They don't need to do shit. One of the richest families I know, and who I would love to emulate if I got to their level of wealth, they own mining companies, train companies, shipping companies. Like, they own giant industries, and the husband and wife don't do any of it. Somebody else runs it all for them. And they go fly fishing in Belize. They go sailing in the Bahamas. They go skiing at Big Sky. They sit on the beach in Hawaii, right? They have their charitable organizations, and they play their little sports activities. The wife likes to teach yoga, so she has yoga classes she teaches, and she doesn't charge very much for it because she doesn't need to, right? They just do what they want to do, and they don't want to talk. Like, if you go to dinner at their house, you can ask them, like, what do you think about the stock market? Like, I have no idea what's going on in the stock market. None. Don't care. Somebody else does that for me. That's their job. And I would love to have that kind of freedom. Just be like, fuck, I don't care. I'm going to go fly fishing in Belize. So That's what I'm going to do. And they are very content. You know, they've got their little race car house on a racetrack in Pahrump, Nevada, and they fly down there and they race their Ferraris around in circles and have a good time. Like they're disconnected from the wealth generation aspect. They basically, like, our family made so much money that we don't have to care about that stuff anymore, and so they don't. And then you got people who are even wealthier than they are, and it's all they want to do and talk about and strategize about. And I guess it's their hobby. But I would love to be able to afford my other hobbies rather than do this all the time. That's where I want to be. And I kind of talked about that with Salvatore the other day. It'd be really lovely to just turn that center of my brain off and be able to focus on the things that actually drive my passion, you know? Like, yeah. But I got Moo here. What a horrible attitude. You won't get rich by wanting to relax, contribute nothing. I mean, that's the end goal. Like, you have goals in life, right? And that goal is to get to a point where I don't have to do the things I don't want to do anymore. And that's probably the entire point of getting rich, is that I don't have to do what you want me to do anymore. I can do what I want to do. And that seems to be as good a motive as anything to work towards a goal, is to achieve that specific goal, right? So I don't think it's a horrible attitude. It's just that there comes a point where you have $100 million. Okay. You're going to work really, really hard to get to $200 million, and then $500 million, and then $1 billion, and then $10 billion, and then $100 billion. And you just keep going and going and going and going. And all you've done at this point is accumulated capital, not actually contributed anything to society, but taking from it at this point. And why not, when you get to a point where you have more money than any reasonable person could spend, stepping aside and let somebody else fill that vacuum? I don't see anything wrong with that. It's just, I don't need much, man. I want to travel. I want to eat good food. That's basically what I want in life. And I don't need a mega mansion. I don't need a $500 million super yacht. I don't need a submarine. I don't need a G5. I don't need that crap. I just need a steady income where I can afford to do my little hobbies and travel and eat good food. Look, you can have a $150 steak if you want one. I'll let you have it. But yeah, yeah. I think reasonable exploiting lol. Yes. Elon Musk is exploiting people. He has $350 billion. He doesn't donate to charity. He doesn't let his employees unionize. Right? He is definitely exploiting people. He's spending his wealth trying to destroy what little of the system is there to help folks. And yeah, Elon pouring billions into SpaceX. Elon isn't pouring shit into SpaceX. SpaceX is built entirely upon government contracts, subsidies, and bailouts. That's it. If there was no government contracts, no subsidies, no bailouts, SpaceX wouldn't exist. So, yeah. That's as simple as that. But, yeah, Elon Musk made every single Tesla employee since 2014 and before a millionaire. No, he has not. He may have made engineers millionaires, but people working in the factories, they are not. They're among the lowest paid in the country and have the least amount of benefits. Matter of fact, the only employees I can think of in the factories who've become millionaires are the ones that had to sue over discrimination in the factories. Racial discrimination, sexual orientation discrimination, gender discrimination. Those folks became millionaires because it was very well documented that the management structure in place discriminated against those folks. So those folks became millionaires. But no, efforts to unionize the Tesla factories have resulted in corporate retaliation. They've got some of the highest workplace incidences of accidents in any industry. The SpaceX factory is actually the most dangerous factory in the Northern Hemisphere. More dangerous than any factory like in Mexico. It is crazy how dangerous the SpaceX plant is. And you know, it's wild. You can't operate a safe factory if you can't paint things with warning colors because your autistic leadership doesn't like the color yellow. So machinery that should be yellow to go, whoa, that thing's dangerous, chop people's heads off because people don't see it coming. Like that's just the way it is, man. Elon does not give a shit about you. If he gave a shit about you, he wouldn't be actively trying to eliminate Social Security and Medicare right now. The two lifelines that have made it so that old people aren't eating cat food and living in cardboard boxes like they were, 85 years ago. That's where we are. That's where we are. And yeah. Anyway, I got to get going. This is a little short show. We're gonna do a longer show tomorrow with Due Diligence, and probably go for 90 minutes, 2 hours, somewhere in there, however long he wants to talk. We're gonna start at 5 p.m. 5 p.m. West Coast, 8 p.m. Eastern. We'll get that all set up, and I'll get links out to you tomorrow afternoon. And I'll probably do a show Thursday, a regular show Thursday, because we won't be doing a regular show tomorrow. So I'll see you guys tomorrow, and I'll see you guys Thursday. So, yeah. Monkey, anything to add? No? All right, cool. Everybody, I want you to have a great day. I'll see you guys tomorrow evening, and we'll have a fun one. All right, let's see here. Bing.
Houston, we have a problem.
Okay. Later, skaters.